All right, guys, I am Mupah. Welcome to Mupah Corp's Operations. Now, this is the third time I've tried to record this video. I am terrible at this. I've created myself a little checklist so that rather than me trying to improv and make things up as I go, I've at least got some bullet points that I can work through with you. So we're going to be talking today about industry. Where do you start? Thank you so much for the support. If you haven't followed yet, please do, or like the video. If you don't like the video, dislike the video. Do whatever you got to do, but I really appreciate any kind of feedback. Now, a little update. I do have a new microphone. I'm using a Yeti, I believe it's called, a Blue Yeti. So I've got that. Got a new little title screen that you might have seen at the start of the video. I'm learning heaps. I've got a pop filter on the way and a stand and stuff. So hopefully the audio will not be as abrupt and obnoxious. And hopefully I will learn how to use it a bit better. So today we'll be talking about industry. In the future, I'm going to be creating some videos all about how to make your own spreadsheets, things like warehouses, job tracking, and science sheets. And also we might have a look at keeping a dashboard running. Moving forward, now I'm going to smash through this because I'm sick of doing it over and over and over. All right, what do I do as an industry? I like the ISK. I like that I can play my way. I can play when I want. I can plan as many jobs ahead as I want. I also like the fact that I can feed the war machine while I'm not out there losing ships, at least not recently. I like the idea that I'm giving ships to other people such that they can get them blown up. I like solving problems. I really enjoy using Excel. I enjoy the spreadsheets. I like one-upping myself. All right, so that's why I've got mastery here. It's all about just competing against myself and coming up with better and more elegant solutions each time I do it. All right. I like that I'm a creator. I like bringing stuff into the Eve universe such that it can then blow up in the Eve universe. I've got Delve here, not as a reference to the Imperium, referring to the notion that you can go as deep as you like. You can manufacture at as many levels as you like. I manufacture in high sec because of my play style. I'm not the kind of player that wants to be beholden to some other corp leader or the battles that go on out in nullsec. But that doesn't mean that what I do is not applicable. You can absolutely be making your own spreadsheets and keeping track of your work such that you can be making profits and know how much profit you are making. Importantly, I would say that one of the big things that I'm not going to mention is hangar organization. Get yourself some station containers, work out what it is you need to have ready to go and how you want to break this stuff down, how you want to organize yourself. But do try and get organized such that you can systemize or systematize your manufacturing operations. Now, when you're building worksheets, I would encourage you to approach it all with openness, an open mind. Come at it with excitement. You need a goal or a mission, and probably most importantly, have a bit of humility, because it's going to be frustrating, it's going to be difficult, and every time it doesn't work, there's no point going away and beating yourself up about it. Just create some new constraints and find ways of making it work for you personally. Now, moving forward, this is a list of categories here, the things that you can make with industry, and maybe the pros and cons of each kind of sector, and also the recommended spreadsheets, because there are plenty of videos on YouTube, plenty of great videos on YouTube talking to you about the things you can manufacture. So I'm not going to talk too much about that so much as how can you use spreadsheeting in each one of these scenarios. Modules, there is so many places that you can spend your time. This is the good thing about it, but it's also a detrimental thing because it can be hard to really lock down on your market. Now, if you've got tendrils out throughout the whole market, if you're making afterburners, you're making drones, you're making rigs, you're making boosters, all these different things, mean that you're going to have a lot of inputs. So I would encourage you, when you start looking at module manufacturing, do just hone in on one section, right? Moving on to ships. Actually, let me quickly go back there. The spreadsheets that you're going to need for all of these categories, you're going to need job tracking so that you can keep track of things along the way, manage each job independently. I've got job codes here, so every time I want to start a new job, I will say, okay, it's April, let's make a Mars ships frigate. What level? Let's make Tech 1 frigates. Let's make magnates, let's make 20. There's going to be no BP cost. There is going to be a manufacturing job cost. I will go and look that up and I'll put something in there. There's going to be no pre-made costs because I'm not using any componentry, because Tech 1, I'm not buying anything from Jita. I would buy minerals from Rens. So if I'm making 20 magnates, let's say that costs, I don't know, 9 million ISK. Okay, the freight cost is another little element that we can talk about another time. Okay, so this is where the job tracking element comes in, all right? You need to know where each one of your operations is up to. So Rens has been bought. Once I've received it in the factory, I'll put a little 1 in there. Once I have got everything ready, I can say start the job. So that says the job is started. And once that job has finished, I will put a little 1 in there, which presents it out on the side here, right? It presents what would be the overall costs of these magnates. Now I got it pretty close, I guess. 9 million, maybe that would be close. But once I've got that, I take that information and I log it for posterity. All right, that's done. Now let's get back to what we are here for. You also will need a warehousing spreadsheet, something, let's have a little look. I'm gonna quickly bring up a Crips and Cores warehouse here. Have a look at this fella. Let's quickly bring this up for you. So out on the left-hand side, I've got a list of all the prices that I've purchased things at. So that gets logged every time I do a shop. Very easy ways of doing that, and we'll talk about that in other videos. But here is the warehouse proper. This is a list of all the data cores that exist, and a list of all the decryptors, and also their average price. Now this is worked out from the order information and also stock take information from previous months, all right? Have as much information as you feel you need, or as little information as you feel you need. The only thing that you do need to be keeping track of is how much has been used, how much has been accounted for, and how much is in the warehouse currently, right? I've also got a little shopping list on the side here. So if the number of decryptors or data cores that I have in stock is less than the desired amount, so the amount that I want to have in stock, then it gets presented up here. So let's doctor this just a little bit. Now this works it out by itself, but I'm gonna mess around here just so that you can see how a shopping list works. So it thinks that I only have 34 in the warehouse and I have a desired level of 150. So it's saying next time you do a shop, go and buy 116 Caldari Starship Engineering data cores such that you will have enough ready to do your science jobs. All right, now I'm going to cancel that and put it back to its formula. Let's get back to what we were doing. Sorry that I'm flying through this. I hope it's a little bit more succinct, because I'm just beyond going back to Premiere Pro and editing the stuff out of it. All right, moving on. Let's look at ships. They are good ISK because they're all out there getting blown up. So there is turnover there. They are easy to sell, again, because they are getting blown up. The cons when it comes to big products like structures and ships is that they are big, right? So to move your product from a factory to the market is quite an operation in itself. You either have to contract that work out or you have to do it yourself. And when it comes to making ships, you're going to need tracking operations. You're going to need warehousing information. So if you're doing Tech 1, you're going to need to be able to track your minerals, your titanium, your mexilon, all that kind of jazz. And you will need science if you are doing Tech 2. If you're only doing Tech 1, you will just need some sort of you don't need anything. If you want to capitalize though, you would create some sort of blueprint register that you can keep track of material efficiency research and time efficiency research within your goals. Maybe you're going to start with Tech 1 frigates, Tech 1 Minmatar frigates, which gives you a very clear path to ticking off your first box. Once you've got your Minmatar frigate BPOs all researched and ready to go, you add your Amar Tech 1 frigates and you tick off those boxes. All right, moving forward, structures. This is not an area that I know much about. I don't do it. I imagine they're a big margin. I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe they're a big margin because the market is small and there is not many people making them. Conversely, I think, at least for me in high sec, there are not that many getting blown up, if you know what I mean. So yeah. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know how I can bring you value here. There is an element though with structures that when you build something from scratch, there is this attachment there, especially with something like a structure, because you've brought something into the universe, you place that in the universe, you've got your little house, you've got a neighborhood, and you can bring your friends. I mean, that's cool. So I've got an attachment to a Vaga that I made from scratch because of that, right? I've started from advanced moon materials. I turned that into componentry. I made the ship. I made the Tempest. Everything came together, and it was a challenge for me because at the time I didn't have a lot of liquid ISK and I didn't have a lot of capital, such that making something like a Marauder was a big deal. So I have an attachment to that, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that structures can bring you that attachment as well. Cons being, I'm making big assumptions here. I guess they're hard to move because they're big and they do actually take quite a while to build. Here I'm showing my ignorance again. You will need job tracking spreadsheet. You will need a blueprint register, and you will also need, I'm not sure if componentry, like maybe you guys can inform me here. Is it capital componentry, the same sort of stuff that goes into things like freighters and dreadnoughts, that kind of stuff? Is that the stuff that they use for building structures? I could research that, but to be honest, I don't care. I'm not making structures. Moving on. Tech 1, so when it comes to building things, whether you're building ships or modules or rigs or drones, whatever it is, you will have Tech 1, Tech 2, or in the case of ships, you also have Tech 3. So when we're looking at Tech 1, the pros of manufacturing in a Tech 1 sphere is that these jobs are quick. You know, you can start manufacturing Tech 1 stuff really quite quickly and simply, because all you have to input into these jobs is minerals, right? That's it. Very simple, and you don't need to skill up for long to have access to these jobs. Okay. On the flip side, the same things that make Tech 1 special also make it not so special. The fact that it is quick, the fact that it is simple, means that every man and his dog is able to do it. So when it comes to seeing a niche or a hole in a market that you want to fill, you can bet that somebody else is gonna fill that market, right? Moving on. The spreadsheets that you're going to need. Now, as I'm saying this about the spreadsheets that you're going to need, get nude, but I'm not even going to edit it out because I don't care. All right, so the spreadsheets that you're going to need tracking. You're going to need a mineral warehouse for Tech 1 because you're going to keep track of your titanium, your mexilon, your basic minerals. If you want to delve a little bit deeper, you're gonna start looking at purchasing things like your ores and reprocessing that ore into the minerals. And what that means is by going a level deeper is that you're cutting out a middleman and thus increasing your profits. And that's what it's all about. Understand, of course, that as these videos go on, I'm going to be making spreadsheets with you. Please come back. Please check out how we can make a little warehouse, how you at home can make a little warehouse, and a job tracking thing, and how you can collate all that information together and present yourself with a cool little dashboard or something. Okay, when it comes to Tech 1, you're also going to need a BPO register of some sort. I would absolutely encourage that you start accruing your own blueprint originals and start researching them one by one, at least with material efficiency. Otherwise, you're going to turn up at that market that everybody else is at, and it's going to be harder to compete. All right. Of course, you can do this with BPCs, but why bother, right? Start taking ownership. Start getting some cool assets behind your little empire. Moving on to Tech 2, the pros of Tech 2. Now, Tech 2 is my baby. I love manufacturing Tech 2 ships. It's what I do. It's what I find fun in the game. I love making my own components, and I love making my own construction blocks, putting it all together and bringing it to market, making my own BPCs, all that kind of stuff. The pros of Tech 2 manufacture is that it is a smaller market, is that this stuff moves. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do still like to get out and fly Tech 2 stuff, at least near where I am, because you have factional warfare space kind of close by. A lot of people enjoy getting out and flying your assault frigates, and interceptors are always big because, I don't know, because they just are, because everybody loves a claw. So you've got high profits there, a lot of stock moves. The cons, of course, being that there are more inputs, okay? So you have to track more when it comes to doing this efficiently. Got a claw, it cost me 22 million ISK to make. I want to add 4% onto that to cover sales taxes, and then I want to add another 10% because I want to sell that claw at a 10% markup, all right? And then you don't need to stress about it. You say, okay, well, that's a claw that's going to be about 28, 26, 27 million. That's a pretty fair price, right? And you can let the market play out, or you can be undercutting people as you go. And because you've got exact information on how much those claws cost you, it reduces the anxiety when it comes to undercutting people, because you know, okay, well, I can get to this point before I will stop undercutting and let the market play out. While ever I'm above this number, I'm making profit, and that's what matters. Cash flow, right? With Tech 2 manufacture, you're going to need job tracking for either the Tech 1 component that goes into it, or you're going to need job tracking for the components that go into it. You're going to need job tracking for the final ship. You're going to need warehousing for componentry, for advanced moon materials. You will need science because to manufacture Tech 2, you have to have a Tech 2 BPC. So you have to have your science tracker, something that looks a little bit like this fella over here. So let me zoom in for you here. Let's have a look. Stay with me. It's like the gladiator. All right, so I'm going to go here. Everyone, let's say it's April. I've got a whole bunch of Helios BPCs that I need. Maybe my warehouse, maybe my blueprint warehouse is running low on Helios. So if I run out of Helios in the market, I want to be able to jump straight back in this. So I want to have BPCs ready to go. So frigate, Tech 2, Helios. How many do I want to do? Maybe I'll do 5 runs, and I'll do augmentation decryptors. Sorry guys, let me bring this up for you there. So I want to do augmentation decryptors. The job cost, who knows? Maybe the manufacturing cost is 1,000, and every augmentation decryptor, every one success that I get is going to get me 10 runs. Okay, so that's all ready to go. That's planned. Now I can start that job. Once that job is finished, I will say how many successes did I get. So in a Helios situation with augmentation decryptors, which have a success rate of about 24%, let's say that I don't do too well and I actually only get one, right? And that means that come manufacture time and I want to make those Helios, I have to factor in for every Helios that I make 834,000 ISK, right? Now that's not a big deal, right? Considering that the pre-made cost, the components might only be 20 million, the blueprint cost would be 800,000, the freight cost, the Tech 1 element might only be 500,000, and that gives me the final price of that Helios. That gives me the final price of the final cost per of that Helios, okay? Now this is not a job that I actually did, so I'm going to delete that. But I will go back to why we are here, which is mad industry. Okay, so we talked about the job tracking, we talked about the warehousing, we talked about the science. Now remember, I'm gonna walk you through this, guys. I'm pretty pumped to make some itty bitty warehouses for you guys that you can follow along and make your own solution, and we can build a bit of a community here. Now moving on to Tech 3, this is another area that I don't really know too much about, so I'm not gonna waffle on about something that I don't know about, but it is kind of similar in architecture to something like your Tech 2 in that you have a lot more inputs than Tech 1. You have salvage, you have componentry, so it's a special kind of componentry, Tech 3 components, and what goes into Tech 3 components is like I think it's, what is that stuff called? Polymers or something. You have to react those polymers. So it's similar to Tech 2 in that you have something that goes into the componentry, then the componentry goes with something else and a little bit of something here to give you a Tech 3 piece. So you have elements there where you can go, I just want to do this element and this element because that's what I can keep track of. Or maybe I just want to do element X and produce. Or you can go deeper and start coming up with cool solutions that say, I'm gonna go from polymers to advanced componentry. I'm gonna set up cool orders to get cheap salvage, and then I'm gonna refine it. I'm gonna build this stuff out in low sec to get cool material efficiency. I'm gonna set up courier contracts to bring it to Jita or bring it to Dodixie or something cool. You know, this is where the excitement comes for EVE Online industry for me, because doing this in the client is really difficult. Doing it in the notepad, that's hard. So Tech 3, you're going to need job tracking, warehousing, science, similar to Tech 2, all right? Componentry is really cool. I love making components. Rather than having 768 mil, I should be spending that 768 mil to get Moon Goo coming to me such that I can be ready to jump on one of these ships, right? So the second that I sell out of Maledictions, I can go boom, straight back into that market because the components are there ready to go. Now, let's say that I'm selling all this stuff, I don't need to get back in those markets, but I want to keep turning over my component factory, then I can get that componentry and sell that. You know, I can get all those components, and I know what the average price per item on this componentry is, and I can put that up. This is why I have multi-purpose here and scalable and fingers in pies. By fingers in pies, I'm referring to the notion that you can be selling componentry and also selling ships. So you are selling componentry to the people that are manufacturing in your sector, right? So you don't need to be stressed about so much undercutting and, oh, am I making my money? Because you can think, well, people are buying the componentry that I'm making, and then they're turning it into ships to undercut me. Well, that doesn't matter because I already got my 10% when I sold them componentry. The cons being, of course, that you are helping the competition. Now, this is not something that I worry about at all because I love the idea that here in Rennes we are giving the good people of Rennes better prices. Please come and compete in Rennes. The margins are stupid and it's not fair on the good people of Rennes. Make Rennes great again. Okay. For components, you're going to need, let's have a quick little look. For components, bear with me here. I'm just going to open the components worksheet here. Bear with me. It's come on here. Okay, so for components, I've got a warehouse here. This is Galente component stock levels. I've got Mimitar stock levels. I've got Caldari and Amar here. I've also got a warehouse that kind of gives me an idea of how I'm going on advanced moon materials. All this orange here signifies that this is stock that is currently in transit, right? I've got who knows how much. What does this say? 55,000. I have 55,055 fuller rides on the way to my factory currently. All right. Anyway, we won't get into that now because it's a bit of a rabbit warren and we don't have all day. But componentry is great. You're going to need job tracking, warehousing, and that kind of stuff. But the job tracking for componentry is really quite simple because you look here, all it is start and finish, right? I've also got a little, it's simple. Let's have a look. I want to make Amar. I want to make EM pulse generators. I want to make 250 of them. I've got my thing there. I say, okay, job started. And then once that job is done, I say job finished. Very easy to keep track of something like components when you're in terms of the actual checklist. Now it's complex when it comes to something like actually keeping track of the moon materials that have gone into that, because you start having to get into something a bit more like this here. Now don't be overwhelmed. All this is saying is that for 250 EM pulse generators it needs 450 nanotransistors, 1575 phenolic composites, and 4,950 tungsten carbide. So that's all that's saying, and these little elements here is just so 10% material efficiency, and if I'm in NPC space, the station material efficiency is 0%, the rig tech 2. And now this is, if I wanted to set up in a citadel somewhere, I've got the tools ready to go. But we could talk about that another time because I don't want to edit this for days. Hide. Golly gee. All right. Hide that fella. Now let's get back here. Components, job track, warehouse. Yeah, okay. Science, we are looking at, it's easy, like componentry. I've shown you that science worksheet. It's very simple. It's multi-purpose. I can keep those BPCs for myself here, or I can go and sell them to other people. Now, given that selling things like BPCs is a real pain in the purifier, because contracts are just so clunky and it's a bit of a pain. But it's easy to do. It's easy to do because if you've got your science sheet, very quickly I will show you here. Okay, so let's say that I got one BPC out of that Helios job. It cost me 8 million ISK to do that job. So as long as I sell that one BPC for 11 million, right? That's one BPC of 10 Helii, and I sell that for 11 mil, then I've made my profit, right? And I've got my log there that tells me how much I need to sell it for. So this is why you want to keep a lot of simple logging as well. Okay. So you'd need your job track, your Crips and Cores warehouse, and a science tracker, which is one and the same. I don't know why I did that. Cons, Crips and Cores. Well, I guess I've got Crips and Cores in the cons column there just because Crips and Cores in terms of pricing is not as steady as, say, minerals and advanced moon materials. Sometimes traders can really get in there and screw around with things, in which case you just got to be aware and smart and don't buy the stuff that is overly priced. Okay, BPCs are done. All right, I got through. Hopefully I don't need to edit this at all. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this video has brought you just a little bit of value. I look forward to creating more and more videos. I hope that you enjoy it. If you don't, bye. But if you do, please like, sub, and share. Be kind, generous, and brave. Fly safe or stupid, you choose.
MupahOut.